So I saw this PragerU video the other day. It's called A Father's Questions for Black Lives Matter. I really hate this video because the guy they feature is like this soft-spoken guy, and you can tell he's just like here to peddle like an anti-BLM thing for PragerU. Also, really love this right here. You literally cannot get the PragerU video without the grift. Donate to help PragerU fight censorship. They've raised $41,000 from their impressionable viewers who unironically believe that because, let's listen to what they say. YouTube currently lists over 200 PragerU videos under restricted mode, making it difficult for many young people to access our videos. See how they keep it so ambiguous? What that really means is some of their videos don't come up when YouTube is in a manual and optional restricted mode that's turned on in some schools and libraries. The Young Turks, they have more videos that are hidden in restricted mode than PragerU. If you look at my channel in restricted mode, none of my videos come up. Can someone give me 41K, please, to help fight centrist censorship? My whole channel is now doesn't come up when you search my name with my last name spelled wrong. I'm clearly being censored. Help me. Money.
I consider myself to be a typical Main Street American. One thing that is different
I hate your voice.
about me is that I have a big family.
Wow.
Not so common in America these days.
What?
I'm the proud father of 13 children.
Wow.
8 are white and 5 adopted are black. My family is my greatest joy, and my life is dedicated to their well-being and happiness. I'm struggling right now.
What is with this ASMR shtick? Am I the only one who's annoyed by this guy's voice? I have a lot of people in my family, but Black Lives Matter wants to kill all white people.
Because I genuinely don't know how best to support my black children through this tumultuous and painful period in our history.
Well, the fact that you're on a PragerU video does not give me a lot of confidence in your abilities there, pal.
Say I should get involved with the Black Lives Matter movement,
Yes.
while
you
others
should.
say I should avoid it at all costs.
You
To help me
shouldn't do
figure
that.
this out, I have some questions for the Black Lives Matter Global Network. In the summer of 2020, a peaceful BLM demonstration in my hometown of La Mesa, California, turned violent as protesters began rioting, looting, and setting fires.
Oh, no.
The next day, I took my 14-year-old black son downtown to help with the cleanup. As we walked
Make sure to
past
get
the
the
charred
racing in.
remains of Chase Bank, I noticed the letters BLM graffitied onto a wall amid the rubble. It was unsettling, as if Black Lives Matter was claiming credit for the bank's destruction.
Some random person spray painted BLM on some rubble. I walked past the charred remains of Chase Bank. Oh, God. And then I saw Black Lives Matter tattooed on the wall, and I just knew that BLM wanted all Chase Banks to be dead. Surely you recognize that a little bit of like rioting and looting is not definitive of, one, the global network that you put it as, and secondly, the underlying position. Like, I don't think the rioting and the looting is good. I think there are a lot of people that exploit Black Lives Matter and literally use the civil unrest to go be pieces of shit, looting and rioting. But what I also think is that criticizing the looting and the rioting is irrelevant. Like, they're already looting and rioting. They don't care if you criticize them. Instead, we need to fix the underlying issues. Why are people looting and rioting? Why is the civil unrest there in the first place that's allowing people to do that? That's going to really fix rioting. So when people like this dumb fuck, who I can already tell is a dumb fuck, I've already watched this whole video, so I can say that with confidence. The point of bringing this violence and the rioting and the scary charred remains of Chase Bank, it's a distraction. It's so that he doesn't have to think about the underlying issues or what BLM is actually about. It's so that instead he can just say, look, they burned something down and it was bad and scary, the end.
As if Black Lives Matter was claiming credit for the bank's destruction. I didn't want to believe that. Just as any parent who has adopted and biological children, I love them all the same.
Wow.
Obviously, I never want to see any of them wrongly accused, mistreated, or targeted because of their skin color.
Okay, just kind of funny that he's like, I don't want to see anybody wrongly accused or them targeted for their race, but I just, don't support Black Lives Matter, which is literally trying to bring attention to underlying systemic problems and discrimination within our criminal justice system. But, it doesn't have to make sense.
I would happily support any peaceful movement that helps to secure racial justice and equality.
Surely you can recognize that there's going to be some violence there, which is unfortunate and bad, and I don't like that, and I don't support that, but that's just a component of it. It happened in the 60s as well. You know, nobody talks about there being rioting in the 60s because we all agree with the underlying position. We all agree that black people shouldn't be segregated from white people. We all agree with that, so we don't care or think about the rioting and the civil unrest and the looting. And you know what? For a long time, the looting stopped because the civil unrest stopped.
Also recognize the need for law and order. No community can survive, let alone thrive, without that. This is the source of my conflict and confusion. Is it possible for my family to support the Black Lives Matter movement while also supporting the police?
Well, yes. I will admit that there are a lot of people that associate with BLM that probably have some pretty bad anti-cop rhetoric, but yeah, you can support the police. In fact, a lot of the reason that I support systemic change for the way our police system works is because I care about and support our police officers. A lot of the times, and a lot of the problems come from our police officers being overworked. We need to start taking some of those responsibilities and putting them on more qualified individuals and letting the police do what they're good at. I support systemic change also because I think that the police system, unfortunately, is oftentimes used for bad or disproportionately negatively affects black people. But I think that there are a lot of good police officers in that system. So yeah, I think you can actually support Black Lives Matter and support the police, but you have to be willing to support changing the way the police system works. I would say that if you say, I don't want anything to change with the police, I like everything just the way they're doing it right now, those views probably wouldn't be compatible with BLM.
I went to your website looking for answers.
All right, well, so far this is a huge contradiction now because he's going to the website after prefacing it. He said movement and called it the global network. So the organization that takes donations and everything else is like a specific organization. Just that. They organize some chapters here and there, but millions of people marched for BLM. All these people are not associated with blacklivesmatter.org LLC.
But I came away with more questions.
Oh, no.
You state that your mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on black communities by the state and vigilantes.
Okay.
But you don't explain how you're going to do that. What is your definition of white supremacy, of local power? By state, I assume you mean police.
Do you think maybe you could have looked a little more on their website to find that out before running to PragerU?
Honestly, I can't tell whether you intend to pursue your mission through peaceful or violent methods. Until recently, your website also declared that you will disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. Does my family fit that description? Why would you want to disrupt my family structure? That language has been quietly removed. Does that mean that you no longer hold that view?
It hasn't really been quietly removed. They probably took it down because it was bad for PR. Let me get this up right here, okay? I'll explain this for you, my G. Is it true that Black Lives Matter wants to abolish the nuclear family? Selectively true, true only in context. The actual website said, we make our spaces family-friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the Now listen, I acknowledge that some of this is going to sound like some really woke liberal BS, okay? We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so that they can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. So yeah, what they're saying here, I'll admit, not very well, is just that, like, they're gonna disrupt, well, they say Western prescribed, so they're talking about this idea that the nuclear family is what's best. Now, I would argue with this, because based on what I've seen, the nuclear family, two loving parents, straight or gay, it seems to be the best environment for children, so I might not agree with this overall, but they're not talking about disrupting and getting rid of the nuclear family, and they hate the nuclear family and all that crap. They're saying they don't like the Western prescription that you have to be in a nuclear family structure. So there is a little bit of nuance there, also kind of poorly worded. That might be one of the reasons it was removed.
So I began doing my own research.
Oh,
That
no.
led me to an interview on the internet with one of your founders, Patrice Cullors.
Sure.
We are trained Marxists, she said. We are super versed on ideological theories. Which theories are those?
Oh, no.
Is Black Lives Matter a Marxist-inspired organization?
No, not really. This was from 2015 also. So oh look, hold on. PragerU has said this before too. When did this come out? Interesting how PragerU has already been peddling this thing that they're Marxist, guys. Doesn't that sound scary? Listen, you heard the word, right? Marxism, yikes. Recent Surface 2015 interview. The fact this is from 2015 also really makes me doubt his little story that he just did his own research and suddenly stumbled upon this 2015 interview with one of 3 Black Lives Matter co-founders, declared that she and another co-founder are trained Marxists. The movement has grown and broadened dramatically. That's true. That's kind of what I'm saying. Many Americans, few of whom would identify as Marxists, support Black Lives Matter, drawn to its message of anti-racism. Hundreds of thousands to millions of Americans support BLM. That doesn't mean they're all Marxist. Yeah, these days Marxism usually means analyzing social change through an economic lens with the assumption that the rich and the poor should become more equal. I think what she was overall saying probably was referring to it as looking at it through this like Marxist lens. That's still pretty far left. Yeah, the group support is broad. This is what I mean, is trying to pin the overall movement and the global network. I'm going to keep on saying that because that's what this guy said. On the website, it's kind of bad faith. It's also really bad faith that he's posing this as like these just innocent little questions when, you know damn well, he already has his mind made up on this issue.
As an organization, do you believe in and support the Constitution? Do you honor the flag, or do you view it as a symbol of oppression?
Why does that matter?
Do you believe that people should be primarily judged by the content of their character or the color of their skin?
Oh, there we go. Brownie points for PragerU. The one MLK quote. Hey, it's funny, this guy's so scared of Marxism and then quotes MLK when MLK was literally a socialist. That's some irony right there. Are we really going to do this right now? King believed that a multiracial working class movement was required to overcome the failings of capitalism. So the fact that this guy is like using the fact that BLM at one point said something about Marxism as this scary fear tactic thing, and now he's over here quoting the one MLK quote that conservatives know. This is so disingenuous and slimy.
Do you support or condemn destruction of personal and private property of others?
Condemn.
Do you believe in the defacing and destruction of statues, monuments, and other public property?
Some, yeah. If they're statues of racist bigots that fought for slavery, then yes. I go by PragerU's logic that only winners deserve trophies.
Need to be reformed?
Yes.
Or to be defunded?
Both.
Or to be eliminated altogether?
Yes.
I am one of countless...
Kidding. But the police does need to have its funds reallocated and put to overall better causes, to better training for our officers and changing the system overall. So no, the police should not be eliminated.
Reports you've raised millions of dollars in support of your organization. What are you doing with that money? Are you using that money in some way to help Black communities?
I agree that some of this is bad too. I was hearing some problems too about the organization making a lot of money. And then there were some local chapters, I think, that said they didn't really see results from that. Or, I mean, like, no one's saying Black Lives Matter LLC is without fault. No one's saying this. We're just saying that they support the overall movement of being anti-racist and systemic change.
I humbly propose that you use some of that money to help Black people who have been harmed by the destruction that has accompanied BLM protests.
Oh, my God.
I'm thinking of the family of David Dorn, the Black retired police captain who was shot and killed while trying to protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I don't know about this David Dorn guy. I mean, have you looked at his past? You know, I've heard this guy was no angel, man. Hey, I think maybe he was on fentanyl. I don't know, man.
Protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I mean, you'd have to be on some kind of kooky drugs to go and literally risk your fucking life to protect someone's pawn shop.
Speaking as a father and as a typical American, I look forward to your answers. I'm Dan Collins for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
Oh, here. Please donate, guys. Does he say something about censorship? Oh, nope, that's the end of it. Okay, too bad. I was hoping for something about how over 9 million PragerU videos are getting censored because they got one less like than last year. All right, well, I hope we were able to answer some of those questions. Some of them were just needed to be laughed at, though.